Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 13 of the Unknown Comics Podcast. I'm Tanner. This is Chris, and we have special guest Dakota here with us today.
Yeah, welcome, Dakota.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Dakota's one of our local customers. He's been with us a very long time, almost since the beginning. It took us a while to convert him to buying new books from us, but he bought some old stuff from us at the beginning. But yeah, Dakota, why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Like you said, I've been pretty much with you guys since you guys were over at 14th Street.
Yep.
I started coming in over there. It's funny because the way I found you guys was I had just started getting into collecting comics and reading comic books. So I was looking on Facebook on ways to get comic books. And, of course, this was before Facebook Marketplace. And so, but I was looking for like comic book places like in the area. And so I discovered Unknown Comics, and I was like, "What is this place? What is Unknown Comics?" And
Is it real?
yeah, is it real? And so I was like, "Where is this place at?" And it was like, I don't even know how late it was that night.
Yeah.
And
we were just up all the time. We were always there.
And so I was like, "Where is this place at?" It says it's here in town. And so I was like, I told my mom, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to this comic book store that's open right now." I was like, it must be a new place. So I walk in, and you guys are there. It's you and Darren.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, hey, I'm just kind of curious on looking for some stuff. And you guys had back issues at that time. And so I was looking for, getting it, collecting and stuff like that. And so I was looking through you guys' back issues, like Captain America and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool that's how it just happened, was just randomly looking for comic book places in town.
Yeah.
And that's how I came across you guys.
Yeah, some of our long-timers are like that, They either, like you said, looked it up and like, oh, a random place, didn't know it was here. And we don't get a lot of local people yet. But the other was like one of our guys, Steve Hopkins, who just had a package delivered, and then he realized, oh, this is from Amarillo. And I live here, so I'm gonna go check it out.
I could have got this a lot faster.
Yeah, I could have just walked in there and got it.
Yeah.
So tell us kind of like what you collect and what you love.
I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man. As you can see, I've got I don't know if you can see it, but I got Spider-Man tattoo.
Yeah.
On my arm. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been like my thing since I was a kid. I remember watching the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s on reruns all the time.
Yes.
Watching the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies in theaters, going and watching those. But I've loved Spider-Man since I was a kid. I love collecting Spider-Man. And then I love reading Daredevil. As I've gotten older, I've grown to love Daredevil more and more and more. That's something that I love reading. I love the new run of Daredevil. It's just been a great read. I love Nightwing. Nightwing's one of my favorite DC characters.
Yeah.
I love Nightwing. So I love a wide variety of things, both Marvel, DC, independents. I love all those things. It's funny because one of my favorite DC characters too is a real oddball character. I love the Creeper from DC. I wish they would do something more with him.
Yeah.
But it's another one of my favorite characters that I love collecting or reading is that character.
And then it's funny. We were talking right before we started. The Justice League thing came out, and you said you haven't even seen the first one.
No, I don't.
Is it all the DC movies you kind of just don't even try, or
no? I watched Wonder Woman, and I watched Wonder Woman 1984, Shazam, and Joker, and Aquaman, and those are the only.
Those are like the only good ones.
Yeah, those are the only, those are the only DC movies I've ever.
Those last three, Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
I mean, if it would have come out when it did, maybe I wouldn't have been so disappointed.
Yeah,
but waiting for 2 years,
well,
I think was the disappointment.
When you amp a movie up for 2 years, it better be good,
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing with that. So, and the reviews were like the best reviews of a DC movie ever, and I'm like, who watched this? Because usually they're pretty honest about how terrible they are. So yeah, it's kind of whatever. But overall it's pretty good. So we can talk about some comics we're all reading, if we're things like that. So what'd you check out this weekend? I know you had a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I've got a big stack. Because I'm doing the reviews on the YouTube channels.
Yeah.
A lot of what I've been picking up are independent stuff. Before we started recording, I was reading Maniac in New York #2.
Mm-hmm. Now, who's that published by?
Aftershock.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, it sounds familiar, but I couldn't remember who it was.
I've also been reading the Beast Wars stuff.
Okay, that's Transformers.
Beast Wars was my favorite Transformers
Yeah.
cartoon growing up.
Yeah.
So seeing that in comic form is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, the big publishers of the X-Men stuff, we had several different X-Men #1s this month, and I've read all of those. They were, that's what last week's episode was mostly about. So you can go back and hear our thoughts about those.
I will just inject this here right quick. If you hear some strange noises, we are having construction still, so you're hearing some drilling happening for sheetrock. So
Nonstop Spider-Man was awesome.
yeah.
See, I didn't like Nonstop Spider-Man.
Really?
I did not like it. I didn't like the artwork, and I didn't like the story because I know when they teased it, they teased like it would be nonstop, constant action.
Yeah.
And then there was that big break in like the middle, and I didn't like it.
Now-
And I was looking forward to it, and I didn't like it.
There were a lot of words for how action-packed it was.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like super action-packed, and it was
You
like,
wanted more like Berserker panel to panel.
Yeah.
yeah,
like,
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, because that one was intense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, they teased it as nonstop action, so I was thinking like Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man 1 through like 5, Torment, that whole story arc.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like nonstop action, little words, constant thing, and then it was like a lot of words, big break in the middle. I was like, this is just a regular, I guess, Spider-Man book, I guess.
Oh, there's still. I guess I still got to give it some setup right now. What is that? I haven't got to read that one yet. So tell me, is it based still kind of with everything else? Does it seem like it's kind of its own standalone
It's kind of
thing?
its own standalone.
It's kind of its own standalone thing.
Pete's back in university,
Yeah.
and there's this mystery drug going around,
Okay.
and it's causing overdoses.
Oh,
Really, this first episode was first issue,
same thing.
same thing. He kind of just stopped some like thugs
Yeah.
while rushing his friend trying to get medical help because she had overdosed on it's a study drug is what it is. Trying
Okay.
to help you stay up and study.
Ah, I got you. All right. Well, I still need to read it. Issue 2 is coming up this week. We have a really sweet exclusive.
Yeah,
Great about the auto.
FOC is this week.
Yeah, we got our issue 2 cover has Spider-Man 2099 on it, so it's amazing. We've been trying to get it on a cover for I don't know forever. It feels like a year. Maybe it has been a year. I'm not sure. We've had that like Marvel let us use this. Marvel let us use this. Marvel let us, and they keep telling us no. Finally, they're like, okay, fine, you can use it on Nonstop Spider-Man. So I was like, yes.
So Dakota, we've kind of talked about this around the office. What are your thoughts about the new costume?
Oh yeah,
I
with being a fan.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think it's the eyes. I think it's the eyes, the weird LED,
The robotic. Yeah.
eyes. Like I think if maybe those were gone, I think I'd be cool with it. But
So if he still had just the slick, big
and
eye.
maybe even like kind of how maybe kind of like Spider-Man 2099, kind of with like maybe the weirder kind of looking shape eyes. Maybe
Yeah.
it would be kind of cooler. But I don't like the robotic LED lights on the eyes. It's a weird look.
Yeah, I think for me, what they didn't have like a really like a superstar artist make it right.
Yeah.
And I think if you're gonna change the suit up and everything like that, you want to like have this. I don't know. You have Adi Granov or you have Delato or you have somebody like that, like really like presented as like, wow, look at this. I think they missed an opportunity there.
I don't really understand what their thinking was in changing the suit because we 100% know it's going to be back to red and blue by the end of the year because that's when the movie comes out.
Yeah,
It's true. Yeah, true.
I mean, and there's still as up to this point, every cover still has him in the red and blue. Now, is he actually wearing it throughout in the series? I haven't got to.
I haven't made it that far.
61.
Yeah,
It just came out,
yeah.
so this is the. I guess I should. No one really is going to know because it just came out like last week. So the next issue should be out, I think, next week because it's bi-monthly. So I guess we'll find out how long it actually lasts. But,
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to use it kind of like they did with like the spider armor, where it's like maybe like a one-time deal, where it's like a big fight, and he needs a new suit.
See, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't
Especially,
know.
it just looks like it's very specifically built for something.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it fulfills its purpose in the story. Kind of like he had a suit in Big Time Spider-Man that helped him fight the big bad guy.
But speaking of the Spider-Man books, this week on Final Order is the new Spider-Man, Spider Shadow Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, because isn't it like an old untold story of like when he had the symbiote on him?
Yeah, it's like what if he gave in
It's more of an
to-
alternate universe.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
He was like, what if Spider-Man decided that, you know what, I need help. I need what the symbiote gives me to beat the bad guys. And he
What
gives
if we got
into
emo Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and we kept him?
And we kept him. Yeah.
yeah. Give me a dancing scene, for a couple panels.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. So what do you think about that? I mean, that seems like a pretty. I feel like how have they not gone there?
Well, is it?
I mean,
I mean, Symbiote Spider-Man's kind of like that. I mean,
Yeah.
a little bit. I mean, it's kind of like untold stories of that, but
Maybe this is supposed to kind of get a little bit darker. Yeah.
maybe.
So
Yeah, I've noticed that with a lot of books lately. Like, they're putting out titles that are more gritty adult versions that are parallel to the main universe, but don't actually exist in the main universe.
yeah, they can still kind of make it a little bit more mature. Kind of get those people into there.
I mean, with all the black, white, and blood stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've got Deadpool coming next. Wolverine just ended.
Deadpool. Carnage is next.
yeah,
Carnage is about to come out, but Deadpool's coming. I believe this
Okay.
summer. Yeah.
Spoiled.
Wolverine just ended. So yeah, they look. I like it. I like it a lot. And then of course Batman is doing black and whites. There's not black, white, and blood.
And then and Superman's doing what is it, red and blue?
Red and
Red
blue.
and blue. Yep.
But I mean, you can't really make Superman that much darker. That defeats the point of the character.
Yeah. It's kind of why he is a really popular character, but nobody buys his comic book.
I bought red, white, or red and blue.
Did you read it?
I haven't read it yet because it's like a double issue. It's
pretty
It's
thick.
a big boy.
Yeah. It's probably like wordy. It's hard.
Batman Catwoman. It was a black label, wasn't it? It was more mature.
Batman Catwoman is black label. That one's Tom King that's writing that, and Clay Mann who's doing the interior art on all those. So, but that one's kind of time lapsing. So it's kind of going through their relationship at different times throughout there. So it's not all like one story set in stone all the way through. So, but Batman. Speaking of Batman and Batman people, the Joker book. I just read that this last week, and issue 1 just came out with that, and it's kind of setting up a pretty cool story. So basically, it's actually more about Gordon than it is Joker.
Well, it's hard to make a book center around a villain.
Yeah.
You have to have some character in it that you can relate to.
So this whole thing is about Jim Gordon and how the Joker is like his one that he never was able to put away. You know what I mean? So, and he's retired now, and so this group of people, you don't even really know who they are, come out, and they're going to hire Jim to hunt down Joker. So
now, isn't the backup story in that? Isn't it Punchline?
yeah, now there is a secondary story to Punchline where you're kind of seeing her in prison now, and she's trying to stand up and show how big she is in prison, because that's a whole other world that she's never been in, and she's already getting some grief. People are trying to put her in her place, and she's trying not to let that happen. So that was a pretty good little story. I think Mirka and Doff was doing the art on that, and I can't remember who was writing that part, but so that was pretty good too. It's a few pages in the back of the book for Joker #1. So
now, are you surprised that Punchline didn't get us like a main book? I know, because I know before she even came out, like people were already cosplaying as her and stuff like that. Are you surprised that she didn't get a book first? Kind of like
Harley
I
Quinn.
guess?
I don't know if the fandom. I mean, Harley Quinn, month in month out, is still one of the most ordered books that we have. And I don't know if they believed, especially since they just cut down. I mean, they went from their 50-something titles to 20-something titles. If they were comfortable with that yet, so maybe they're going to use this kind of as a tease. Like, do we do a full-blown ongoing series with her? Because now Harley Quinn is also before the 75 issues that they had done. All 75 issues were kind of Harley Quinn's own thing. It wasn't really relative to the rest of the DC universe. So now her new series that's just starting is actually part of what's going on with everybody else.
It'll be a part of any crossovers.
Yeah, crossovers. So you have basically your main Batman titles. You used to have Batman, Nightwing. They got Red Hood and all that stuff, and then you'll have Harley Quinn. So that'll be, and then Joker. That's like your Bat titles now. Outside of that, there really isn't anything being published anymore. And then you still have a Super Sons book, of course, Superman, Detective Comics. I think Action Comics is still going, and then Wonder Woman. So I mean, and then you have little spinoffs here and there, but I mean,
Did they get rid of like Flash and all
Flash, of course, Flash. Yeah, Flash is still going as well, and then Justice League.
that? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I knew this has been coming for a long time that they were going to cut a ton of titles after Future State.
yeah, yeah. So and a lot of did, and I don't know. It's because they want to slowly rebuild out into what they think is going to sell more. Maybe they thought. I mean, there was quite a bit of books that, you know, we sell online and we sell hundreds of different copies of different things, and then we'd only sell like one Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or Suicide Squad even is really not picked up that much.
The Batman stuff in particular, I think like there just got to be too much. I mean, especially if there was a crossover and you had 10 just Batman books, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I think also for like their editing purposes, I don't. They have a lot of different creators that have to co-work on books, and a lot of that was because a lot of it was coming out bi-monthly. So you'd have one guy doing art for pages 8 through 5, and then another person was doing art for pages 7, 8, and then the other guy would come back and he would still be doing pages for 15. I mean, that had to be a nightmare for editorial.
I know when I was reading Cyborg, that happened. There was 2 artists, and all of a sudden the art went from like super kind of realistic to like cartoony, like in the middle of the book, and then it switched back to that super realistic style. It was kind of distracting.
Yeah, it's frustrating as a reader, I feel like.
They used to get away with that back in the day because the studio had a style that you had to be able to mimic, you know?
Yeah. And I think sometimes they, you have artists like Tyler Kirkham and then some of the other guys that, they have that old ink and wash. And so you can kind of really use those guys back and forth.
Right.
But when you're doing like somebody who's like Tyler and then you put him with somebody that's digital, that's going to be completely different looking. And, especially if it's the more cartoony looking thing, that's going to be hard to keep up with and want to read.
Right.
But Joker, I read that, so like that was a good read. What else did I read this last week? I still need to finish Marnie's Calgar. Did you finish that yet?
Yeah, the series was pretty good.
Yeah, I just need to read 5. It's sitting on my desk.
I wish they would have announced another title before this one ended. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had 5 months to do it, but
well, and this one actually got delayed. I think it took an extra whole month to.
Yeah, one issue was a month behind.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was though.
I think it was 3.
But it was okay. It was very interesting. So it was very interesting to see that big of a character reveal in a comic book for Games Workshop.
As far as what they did with his story arc overall, or is something that happened in 5?
No, as far as the overall story of what it's
just
about.
Telling us that he's not actually Marnius Calgar.
Right. I mean, I would have never guessed to have that in a comic.
Yeah, and what a way to hit it.
It's not like Games Workshop doesn't have an outlet to put out their fiction. Black Library is a pretty big deal for people.
They've been putting out novels for over 30 years.
Right.
This is never. So Marnius Calgar, you probably don't do Games Workshop. No. So for those not listening, so Games Workshop is a huge tabletop gaming.
40K.
40K, yep. So Warhammer 40,000, the year 40,000. So this character, he's like one of the main characters of all of the storyline. And he apparently has never been himself. They come out in this comic book and basically say he was a friend of the real Marnius Calgar.
He was a friend, but he was
like a servant friend. Yeah, he was not a highborn. He had no reason to ever be put in a place to become a space marine or be what he was. And it happened that in a temple where these kids are worshiping chaos, and he was the real Marnius Calgar got slain, and he picked up the mantle and has been carrying it very proudly ever since. So, kind of a crazy thing to think that this guy's been living for,
several hundred years.
Yeah, millennia.
Yeah.
and no one knew who he really was. So it's very, very interesting for them to drop this in a comic book, but good for them to kind of make sure people want to start picking up, because who knows what else they're going to do.
Right.
Since they just signed this contract with Marvel.
And they're really trying. They want all of their stuff to be the best. They teamed up with Marvel for their comics.
Yeah.
They're teaming up with Magic the Gathering for a card-based game. So.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see Warhammer 40,000 in a Magic the Gathering card setting. We'll see. I want to see how that works. Of course, I think they also signed that Dungeons & Dragons and Lord of the Rings are also going to be doing. D&D makes sense, right? Seeing Lord of the Rings in a card-based format like that is going to be interesting as well. So, I'm guessing they probably cousined those license, since Games Workshop also does Lord of the Rings they probably somehow put all that together.
Yeah.
Let's see, other comic books. Anything else you read that was interesting?
Gosh, I've
Star
read,
Wars High Republic, if you haven't been keeping up with that.
Yeah, which I mean we cover that on the podcast here. Deep Beyond.
Oh, okay.
I've read both of those.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's like their own new little superhero book.
There's been no superheroes yet.
Yeah?
It's like these monsters from the deep ocean have polluted the whole world.
Is it kaiju kind of thing?
Kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, we've only seen one monster, and it was a kaiju. They call them colonies, where it's basically safe for people to live, but you go outside the wall and you could just be killed by a monster. They do know that they're coming from the ocean, so the ex-husband of a scientist that was lost in the ocean just recently, at the end of issue 2, they made it to a submarine, and they're going down to figure out what's going on. But that's as far as it's gotten so far.
I think that one's written by Kyle Higgins, I believe.
I couldn't tell you. Nocterra 1 was awesome.
Yeah.
Tara was great.
Yeah, Scott Snyder and Tony Daniels, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Excited about issue 2. Tyler, we're talking about Tyler has a hidden cover for that coming out for issue 2, so that'd be pretty cool.
I can tell you I'm excited for Geiger. Jeff Johns is another one of my favorite artists or writers.
The Geiger book looked pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that one. So I need to read Nocterra still.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
I know you love the Snyder, so anything you've read other than the Spider-Man here recently, Dakota?
Nocterra, like I said, Nocterra
Nocterra.
was great.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but if the villain, hopefully they do a cover with the villain in the book, because if they do, like, that cover would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the mini villain. I mean, it's gonna be pretty cool if they come out with a cover on that.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing we can talk about today is, of course, tomorrow or today when you hear this, if you're listening live on Twitch, thank you. Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we kind of start speculating now. What do we think we're going to see tomorrow?
I don't know that we'll see.
There hasn't been a whole lot of everybody just saying it's really good. I haven't seen anybody really give spoilers on anything.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm expecting pretty much setup.
Yeah. Just
I'm not expecting
probably
anything crazy, but it should be good.
hopefully a better setup than what we got of the first 2 episodes of WandaVision.
I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. Okay. I thought they were funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It was hard. It was hard for me, but I knew it was going to be good. I knew Marvel wasn't going to screw that up.
Well,
so.
and I noticed a lot in the first 2 episodes just being a video editor.
Yeah.
Like all the little techniques they used.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Dakota? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I think you're right. I think it's gonna be a lot of setup, but also at the same time, I mean they're kind of alluding to something, like maybe like Steve Rogers' death, maybe a memorial or something like that. So maybe we might see that. Maybe the first episode. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
we still haven't seen anything for Black Widow, right? As far as actual mourning, so maybe we'll see something with that. I mean, for sure it has to advance. I know there's been some stuff out there like timeline wise, and I haven't really looked at that yet. Like how far apart is this from Endgame happening? So I haven't looked at that yet. I've kind of been waiting. So I am curious. You know, we're supposed to have the new U.S. agent. You know, how much of him are we gonna see? Are we gonna, is this gonna help set up the other Disney Plus TV shows like the Armor Wars?
Well, that's the big question:
Ms.
is it gonna set up a TV show, or is it gonna set up the movies?
Yeah.
You know?
So and really, I mean, I guess it has to kind of do both.
And that's another thing to think about. Like, are the two going to be so interconnected that you can't watch the movies without watching the shows, or do you think they're going to keep them like, they all take place in the same universe, but there's the movie team and there's the TV team, and they don't really interact
tried
with
that
each other.
with Shield and
See, I didn't like
Defenders.
Shield. I thought Shield was awful.
the first 3 seasons, maybe 4, the movies directly impacted the TV show. And then they kind of got away from that so that they could kind of have their own creative freedom. Now, I think with the fact that most of these TV shows are only going to be one-offs, that they have the freedom to say, yeah, they're going to stay together.
well, see, I think Kevin Feige said that you have to watch the shows to watch the movies.
Yeah.
I think that's that's what he said. Now, I know that like with something like Blade, I know that they were talking with like the Hulu series of like Hellstorm. that they were going to try to do something with that of Adventures into Fear and stuff like that, and that Blade was originally supposed to be like a TV show, and then it became like a movie. But I don't think that Hulu show is going to tie directly into the MCU. There, I mean, I don't believe so, but I know Kevin Feige said
that one does, like, as far as standalone.
Yeah, that's a standalone.
You could say that's all on its own.
That's a straight up standalone.
Yeah.
But I know that Kevin Feige said you have to watch the Disney Plus shows to watch the movies, otherwise you're going to be lost.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, from what we saw from WandaVision, I mean, you if you didn't do that, and all of a sudden you see White Vision show up in Doctor Strange, and you're like, where'd that guy come from? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, you definitely have got to. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how Spider-Man is going to advance, because we know Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, White Vision, and then of course how many ever 15 Spider-Mans are supposed to be in that movie. So, but we have a lot of TV shows coming out before Spider-Man even shows up. So, I mean, Loki. Have no idea if that's. We already know that's going to have a second season, so that could be a standalone, being since he's going to be jumping all over the place. But it's also supposed to be introducing the Time People, so I don't know how that's going to affect the MCU.
So one thing I'm curious, we're supposed to have all these Spider-Mans in the movie, and what are y'all's thoughts about after the movie? Do you think Tom Holland will still be the MCU Spider-Man?
Well, we know his contract's up.
Or do you think they're going to go back to maybe one of the old actors or something?
There's been a rumor going around. Again, this is just a rumor that Sony's talking about splitting Spider-Man into like basically two things: of focus on Tom Holland in college and Miles Morales starting up and becoming the new Spider-Man. Again, this is just a rumor. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's something. If Tom Holland stays around, I mean, I love Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if that's the goal, I think that'd be great to have basically two Spider-Men around, one Miles Morales, one Peter Parker. I think that'd be great. I don't know. I mean,
I love all the Spider-Mans for different reasons. I just think a lot of the big story arcs that would make for the Avengers storyline, not necessarily the individual character movies, but the overall Thanos level threats. Peter's a lot older than Tom Holland is.
Yeah.
In those stories. So I think they need a more grown up Pete to be a part of the Avengers.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they may come in and have two or three. I mean, they can, with having Miles Morales for sure, that's a whole different. You could, really flesh out that character, and you could do Disney Plus stuff with him, or you could do movies if you wanted to. I like the Disney Plus aspect of things because you get to flesh out the characters so much more. There's so much more ways of adding character development because you have more time.
I think out of all of the characters that are not the original of that character, Miles has the best chance of holding his own in the movie world.
Yeah, and I could see Miles having his own standalone movies. My thing with, if they switch him already, like all the other characters that they've introduced in those movies have really had zero to no character development. Mm-hmm. Like, that there's an MJ and his best friend, but like that's it.
Yeah. Because
everything else was focused on tying in back to what they were doing in the overall universe. So you had to have your Tony Stark moments, and this next one we're supposed to have Doctor Strange and all these other people coming in.
I think this movie, the third movie, I think is going to be really where we see Spider-Man grow more.
Yeah.
I think this is the one, unless like I said, you bring in too many characters into it, where you basically are now focusing more on everything else more than Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. I think definitely it's been kind of more of a hindrance on the Spider-Man movies is where we build more and more of like Tony Stark, Avengers, and stuff like that. I think. Hopefully, this is the movie where it's like we're going to build more of Spider-Man's character and Peter's character than trying to get the Tony Stark moment or the Avengers moment and stuff like that. Hopefully, this is where that movie where we grow Spider-Man more.
Yeah, and the whole fact that he doesn't have a contract, that might be just their way of saying we're not going to spoil any more than we have to. That's kind of how they are with everything. Like, if he has a contract signed, then there's more Spider-Man coming.
They got to sign him movie by movie because he'll just leak it all.
Yeah. So I think, for sure. And then you saw the announcement this week that Venom's coming September now. So like it got pushed, I thought, out of this year, and now it's actually going to be releasing this year.
Right. And then Morbius got pushed, or is now in October. Yeah.
So we're actually getting those movies back in, which that tells me that this last week when Raya hit and Chaos Walking hit, that those movies did better than projected, which means now movies are going to start holding in theaters, which is great. I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
I spent money. I went and watched Chaos Walking in theaters. We went and watched Raya in theaters. I wanted to make sure that, I want to do my part to make sure that we can get these movies coming back. So
Right.
And they were good. Both movies were good. Chaos Walking was great. I don't know if Darren had talked about it at all last week.
No, we didn't really talk much about it.
But of course, it's Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley in it. Darren went and watched it again this last week, and he said it was even better the second time. There are some plot holes here and there, but some things I wish they would have gone deeper into. But overall, it was really good. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go give it a watch. And then Raya and the Last Dragon from Disney was a really good movie. I liked it. So my wife is a classic Disney lover and loves all things that have music in it. So she leans over to me midway. She's like, "Where's the music?" And I'm like, "Hey, this is awesome. It's all action packed and great. I love it." And she's like, "No, it needs music." And I'm like, "Well, it doesn't have any. I don't know what to tell you." So, but my kids loved it. We loved it. It was a good movie. So, all right. So, any other speculations on Winter Soldier? I got off topic.
No, I was just going to add something to the Spider-Man conversation.
Yeah, go
real
ahead.
Quick. I was just going to say, if I guess Venom's coming out in September, Morbius is coming out in October, and
Spider-Man
Spider-Man December. I mean, do you think we're gonna tie all of that straight together? I mean, that's the plan. I guess because we know Morbius that. We're assuming Vulture is going to appear in Morbius.
Yeah, we saw Vulture in Morbius. You see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man in a poster in the Morbius trailer.
Yeah.
I think we. With WandaVision, we still, other than seeing Evan Peters, didn't really get that kickstart to the multiverse that we thought we were going to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, a lot of people are saying that, what if Boner is the witness that got lost? The FBI witness that got lost. Maybe he's actually is Quicksilver, and he is under witness protection.
That was my theory.
Yeah, so I've seen that out there. So maybe that is the actual X-Men, Quicksilver, and we don't know. So we'll see. Maybe but I think that we have to start seeing that multiverse somewhere tie in, and maybe they said that Tom Holland could be in Venom and be in the Marvel universe. So I'm kind of hoping we'll see him in Venom.
Right.
Or maybe a Spider-Man. It's still so weird to me. The Venom movie's good, but it's weird to me to see that the black suit did not start with Spider-Man.
I think Sony straight up said that Tom Holland will be appearing in Venom at some point.
The main lady that was, I don't know if she's still over there, but I know that it was an interview with her and Kevin Feige at the same time, and she said something, and he looked at her like, "What did you just do? You do not spoil Marvel movies." So,
we've made this perfectly clear. You don't do that.
Yeah, so that's how you don't get jobs anymore ever again. But yeah, I think that she basically came out and said there's no reason for him to not be in the Sony universe and the Marvel universe. And at that point, people were like, "Oh, so they are going to be connected." But then they had to come back out and retract some stuff. And
because aren't the standalone Spider-Man movies technically Sony movies?
They are still. So the way that works is they say, "Okay, Marvel, you make the movie, and we make all the money." It's literally how it works.
That sounds like a sweet deal.
Yeah. So, except for, of course, Venom. The Venom and the Morbius, those are straight up Sony. Those Marvel's not making those. Now, if it's all going to tie into the MCU, I'm sure Kevin Feige and Marvel are having some, creative discussions on what's overall going to happen.
I'm sure at some point Disney's just going to buy all the characters back if they don't straight up buy Sony.
I'm sure they would love to. Because I know they have Hulk back now. They have all that stuff. That's all back in their wheelhouse. All the Defenders stuff is finally back.
Even with them working together with Sony, the Sony movies are not going to be able to match the style and the aesthetic of the true Marvel movies.
Yeah, and I think some of that just comes from the fact that, the team that Marvel uses, Sony doesn't have the same access to, right? Because they are Marvel's team of people. Mm-hmm. So you get them for the Spider-Man movies, but you can definitely tell that the Venom movie didn't have the same graphics, the same team of people working on it. Even though I thought it was good, it wasn't as up to par with the rest of Marvel.
Right.
So, It'd be interesting to see. I'm really excited about. I'm super excited. Like Black Widow looks like it's sticking. It's not moving. Falcon Winter Soldier's tomorrow, or today, whenever you're listening. It's last week, so I'm really, really excited about it. It looks like it's gonna be really good. I was talking to my kids the other night. I was like, "What's your favorite Marvel movie?" And they're like, "Winter Soldier." That's like their favorite one. And I think it's because it's that espionage, the action packed. And I think we're gonna get a lot more of that. So, and I like a lot of those kind of movies. Like I love the Bourne movies, Mission Impossible. I like those I like that style of movies. So, and I think that's what we're gonna get out of this series. So it's gonna be pretty good. So, all right, what else?
I don't have anything else.
Well, what are we getting on YouTube this next week then?
We'll be doing some more reviews, like real reviews, not just me telling you what I read.
Yeah.
If you hop on over to our gaming channel, we're gonna do our first practice game of Kill Teams tonight.
Yep.
Should have some bat reps up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we do our final order cutoff countdown every week, and the podcast, live sales, all the things.
Yeah. Well, for sure, we appreciate Dakota coming on.
Good to be here.
Sadly, it wasn't a week like after a release of show, so we didn't have as much cool content to talk about because that's usually what we talk about is the awesome TV shows that are coming out. None of us have had a chance to watch 4 hours of Justice League yet.
No.
Don't even know if Dakota's going to.
I don't know. I might just because of the hype around it.
I mean, usually when things are trash and then you don't want to watch it, it's understandable. But
Right.
like everybody I've seen is like, that was so good. So like I'm probably gonna have to stay up way too late watching it tonight.
I hope that this is the push that they need to get their cinematic universe.
What makes me sad is like the fact that it may be all just the fact that they're trying to say it's not going to happen. Is that Zack Snyder is like, no, done. I just made this just to finish it, do it right.
And that's what
like,
makes me sad because I like Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I like his superhero movies. I think the studio did him wrong,
Yeah.
and I think it was Warner Brothers' fault why his movies bombed for DC.
In my opinion, HBO Max is a great outlet to continue his version of the DCEU, right? Make Batman movies on HBO Max.
Yeah.
You want to do the other new Batman movie in theaters? Cool. Use HBO Max as the outlet to do the Snyder version of the DCU. I think it'd be great.
I do too. Well, and I think they try too hard to be Marvel, but DC's not Marvel. The characters are a lot darker. The movies should be darker.
Yeah. See, from what I understand, like Henry Cavill is supposed to come back as Superman, but also now they're planning on doing a whole other Superman movie. Now I don't know if this other Superman movie is based in the same universe as the new Batman.
Well, and I think think they just threw the whole let's make everything connect out the window because the Leto Joker still exists in the DCEU.
Yeah.
Alongside with the Joker.
Yeah. Well, so we have no idea where that Joker's from. Which that was a great movie. I've only seen it once. I need to watch it again. Have you seen Joker?
Yeah. Joker was
okay.
Joker's phenomenal. I watched it in theaters and it was great. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too because I don't think right now because October's kind of been when DC's been kind of slating some of these bigger movies, and I don't think anything's really slated for them then. I don't think anything's coming out for DC the rest of the year.
I haven't heard of anything.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah. All right. Well, Marvel, full steam ahead. All right. Well, guys, if you want to find us on social media, of course, thank you so much if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch live right now, we do appreciate that. If you don't know, when we record on Thursday nights, we do go live on Twitch. So go follow us on Twitch. Look for Unknown Comic Books on there. And you can hang out with us, comment, and let us know live what we're talking about. Thank you for watching on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, and of course, hit that notification bell. If you're looking for us on Facebook, at Unknown Comic Books on there, and Instagram, or on Twitter and Pinterest as well. Look for Unknown Comics. I think that's about it for all that kind of fun stuff. Again, thank you, Dakota, for joining us. I think Darren and I will be in Hawaii next week with David Nakayama. And Tanner and the guys are supposed to have another guest next week, kind of help them out. Tanner and Brandon. Brandon, of course, is missing today. So be watching for that. Should be pretty cool. They'll have a lot to talk about because they'll have seen Justice League and
Hopefully.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. And,
I'll have at least seen Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so it'll be quite a few things that they'll go over and super speculate on by then because who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.